Welcome, everybody, to Cup with Gup on this Thursday, August 19th, 2021. Yet again, another wet and rainy day here in Norman, Oklahoma. Hopefully that moves out and we have a nice weekend. It has cooled down the weather some, so that's always a positive. Right now, use the code NFL to get 25% off any package on the site. Prices go up September 14th. This is good through Monday Night Football on the 13th. If you want to upgrade from content to full site as well as current subs, you can DM me on Slack in the GC Warrior Room or Twitter, and I'll get you your loyalty code. Anybody that signs up or upgrades from August 1st through that Monday Night Football will be thrown into a raffle drawings. We'll be doing some prizes that Tuesday. So looking forward to that. Rate and review us on iTunes. I'll be doing free giveaways, NFL Kickoff Week 1. And that is a way to get in that costs you absolutely nothing, as well as like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube. I'll be pulling winners from people that subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, rate and review us on iTunes, all that applies. Tell me in the video today, who is your favorite captain play tonight for the Eagles-Patriots Thursday night showdown slate to get us kicked off for week 2 preseason? So back to school day for my kiddos today, assuming most kids are probably back or going back this week, maybe next week as well. Hopefully that goes well for all the kiddos in the GC community. Unfortunately, in rare fashion, I was up, but I wasn't. I think I'm obviously look at your phone as soon as you kind of get up and going. But I had started getting the kiddos ready, breakfast, stuff like that. I mean, you're thinking about withdrawals and stuff, but I mean, I'm talking, I don't know what it was, 30, 40 minutes before lock, and nothing had been really discussed. So kind of just put the phone down, wouldn't even buy it. And then I get over and I see like messages blowing up in the Patrick Reed news of the withdrawal. So unfortunately, I got caught with him in 3 of 20 lineups. Was in one of my 3 maxes, but is what it is. Ultimately, in that case, it sucks to get that late of news, but you gotta be around your phone and doing all that. And for me, it was Central Time, so it was definitely a little early. 5:45 here, I think, is when the news came out. 5:50. We had about 25 minutes to get, which is plenty of time for me because I didn't have a bunch of swaps to do. Only did 20 max this week, but looks like he was about 7%-ish. 7.1% in the $15. So I'd only projected him at 9 or so. So I don't think a lot of people caught it. Obviously like West Coast guys, I'm not sure how many of those guys set their alarm traditionally to check for withdrawals and stuff like that. It sucks, but it is what it is, right? It's part of the deal. I know there'll be talk about, wish we could sub or any of that. I don't really mind how it is. I kind of feel snake bit because this is twice now. I had it last week with Norlander. It's just 3 in a row. So 2 weeks ago with Higo on Sunday morning, and that was after lock. So there was nothing you could do there. Those frustrate me when we find out after lock. Norlander was early last week as well, early in the morning, about 30 minutes before. That one didn't really affect me. And then Reed this week, I had a little bit of Norlander, but nothing crazy. And then Reed this week. So kind of, I guess for now, you always got to wake up and be ahead of the game there. Ownership for review for me for the Northern Trust this week. Kind of what we thought. I mean, we had 2 people just get above 20%, Paul Casey and Berger. I had projected 2. I had projected 1, Morikawa, and he actually came in at 18.9. I didn't have many off of my plus minus 3%, and several of them were right at 3, 3.5, 4.2, 3.8. So those aren't real killers. Keegan thought he'd be more popular this week than what he came in at. I guess it doesn't surprise me just because the putting aspect sometimes, but he definitely was talked about in the industry quite a bit. He came in lower than expected. Neiman getting up to 15% kind of surprised me because while he was talked about, like my notes I had, and I liked him and definitely played him, he's a guy that, because he hasn't really done a whole lot He's been consistent lately, but nothing like flashy, like contending, anything like that. And that 8K was so loaded, and even the 7s, that I felt like he was going to get squeezed out. But wound up getting a little bit more owned than I projected there, as well as Cam Smith, which I liked a lot. It kind of sucks because I thought he was going to go under the radar. Again, he was right there. Now, part of that could be both of those guys getting bumps, could be the Reed swap. Neiman's a little less, but I don't know if they go. But the direct pivot was Cam Smith, $100 cheaper. So I would imagine that Cam probably would have been less owned if the Reed news didn't come out. Because if you're doing a global swap or anything like that, you had Connors there, Adam Scott, then Cam Smith. If you had room to go up, Casey would have been $100 more, which could have been the reason why Casey wound up being the number 1 overall projected own. Don't know that for sure. There wasn't a lot of ownership there to spread around, but all in all, not too bad. I think my R squared was 87.1. I shoot for 90%, so a little less than target. My top 50 was 71.4. So all in all, and in top 50, I try to get closer to 75, 80%. But all in all, I'll take it. We will move on next week to the BMW Championship at a new course, so that'll be nice. Not nice, I guess. Sometimes it's frustrating to figure out all the information, but being a no cut helps next week, so you're not trying to. Everybody's gonna get 4 rounds, so it makes it a little easier going to a new course. It's top 70 in the FedEx Cup after this week. I saw some questions on Twitter earlier, and people going, is he out now of the whole deal? No, because he's not going to, even not playing this week, he's not going to fall out of the top 70. I think some people think it's like top 70 this week, and it's not. Most people don't. I'm just saying there's a few out there that get confused, which is understandable, but especially the new people that are coming into the industry, golf in general, DFS. There's 125 in the FedEx Cup rankings. You can go look at them now. After everybody gets their points this week and they add those points to what everybody already has, the top 70 move forward to next week to play. And then the top 30, same deal, moves on to the Tour Championship. And we have the staggered start, for the Tour Championship. Whoever's first in the FedEx will start -10 for the tournament. Second -8, third -7, fourth -6, fifth -5, 6th through 10th place -4, 11th through 15 -3, 16th through 20 -2, 21st through 25th -1, 26th through 30th even. So essentially it means like if you're 15th in the FedEx Cup going into the Tour Championship at East Lake, you start the tournament 7 shots out. And then they play 4 rounds, and see if you can make it up. I know Rory made it up on, I believe, JT. Can be done. It's a unique week for DraftKings because only 30 guys, so there's only so many combos. Then you have the scoring deal, to try to figure out, who can raw score better than the finishing points and factoring that in. I have a little tool I built when they first introduced that. We'll put that out for the premium members again this year, so looking forward to that. On to Thursday Night Football, where the Patriots are a 1.5-point favorite over the Eagles. Showdown again, back this week. Last week we had a 2-game slate. So we have the captain mode. All the pricing is the same as it has been for preseason. Remember that, be near Twitter or the GC Warrior Room Slack within 30 minutes for last-minute news, who we're seeing on the field, that kind of stuff. Can pick up on a few tidbits there. Because the NFL is not required to do active and inactive for preseason games, so we don't ever get a true sense of it. This is also a new preseason stature where we're on week 2, and normally you have 4 or 5 games. Now they only have 1 more. So next week they play, then they get a week off, and then we're to regular season. So it'll be interesting to kind of see this week. I think 2 key themes will be trying to pick up as much info and news on how much the starters will play, because typically we still don't see the starters more than a series or 2 in a normal preseason, because they still have that game 3 in a normal 4-game preseason. That game 3 is kind of pegged for the starters to do like their kind of go through at least a half or so. I think that changes some this year because of the way it is. So we need to keep an eye on that. And the second thing is, I think we can take an advantage of overreactions to week 1 preseason stuff. So we'll get into it. I'm just going to give you my favorite plays that could go in the flex. I'll talk about some other potential pool players in case you can, in case you're doing an MME and you're wanting to get a few shares of other people. And then my favorite captains, and we'll get out of here, and I'll be back tomorrow to discuss. Look ahead at week 1 or week 0, technically college football next week. See if there's any lines we like. Talk a little bit about what we're bringing to the table with college football and our lineup optimizer, which tonight we will have the stacking abilities for the Captain Showdown mode. Bobby is releasing that here this morning, so that'll be nice as well. So if you want to stack, do a 4-2 Patriots stack, 5-1 Patriots, 4-2 Eagles, or you want every lineup to be 3-3, you can do that. Or if you want every lineup to have one of the 3 quarterbacks, or 2 of the 3, or 2 of the 4, we can do all that tonight. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well. So I like Mac Jones. Said this last time. Belichick has a history to play young guys, and that showed in week 1. I expect much of the same there, although I think Newton is still in play as well, because I think he'll get more time than he did the first preseason game, and it is a battle, I think. So we could see almost split time between them two. That's one to kind of keep an eye on, a gut feel. If you're doing MME, I don't mind playing both of them. If you're looking single entry, I probably lean Mac Jones over Newton tonight. I like Flacco. I think he'll see majority of the snaps. They were a very pass-happy offense in week 1, so I think we see that again. So just a solid play there, especially flex. I don't know if I go captain, although I think I'm gonna be pretty narrow on my captain choices tonight. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I like Flacco. Probably pass on Hurts. If you're doing a bunch of lineups, I could see having some of him in there. He's always a threat running, one rushing touchdown, on the first drive or something. He could certainly pay off. But I think he sees less time than maybe Cam. Gainwell, I loved him week 1. I talked about how I loved him in college. I'm going right back to him this week. I'll have plenty of him. Stevenson, little boomer sooner, talked him up heavily the first time, talked about him in Slack. My only fear here is he's one of the guys I'm talking about that I don't want to say overreaction, because I think he is a stud. I watched him a lot in college, obviously. So it's hard for me to pass up on him personally. I do think if you're wanting some type of leverage tonight, that could be possible. Or you play him and you just do a stacking rule where you try to avoid some of the other potential chalk tonight with lineups of him in there if you're using the green machine. I like N'Keal Harry. Cam tended to look towards him when they were kind of in jive last year. So I think early we could see Harry do well. And I think Harry's a solid pivot off of Wilkerson. I think Wilkerson will be popular. I don't hate him either. He had 8 targets in the first week. But I like Harry as a pivot there as a potential flex play. Fulgham is one of my, similar to Harry. I think, Watkins paid off in week 1, kind of like, Stevenson did. But Watkins was way higher owned, and he got the 79-yard touchdown, a little bubble screen, took it to the house. I think going Fulgham, or someone like that is a good pivot off of what could be another chalky Watkins tonight. And I may fade Watkins. I may do like a fade Watkins so I can play a Stevenson or something like that, so I don't have too much chalk in my build. Rodgers, I think that at tight end for Philly will be a good play. Tyree Jackson's out. He had, I think, back surgery or some issue, and he's not playing at all. So I think Rodgers will get most of the routes when it comes from the tight end. I don't know how, in Showdown, you don't have to do positions. If this was a 2-game slate, I think it'd be, you get him in there because you had to pick a tight end. He could be a sneaky pivot too. So, I don't hate him in MME builds. I don't know if I get there in a 1-3 max. Both these are in play again. The unders have been hitting at an incredible rate this preseason. I didn't look. I think after Saturday night, I think they were 13-2. They went 8-0 Saturday night on the unders in this preseason. I did a little round robin. I showed it in Slack afterwards, just messing around, having a little fun. Did a 6-man, or took all 8 teams and did a 6-way round robin, 7-way round robin, then the 8-team one-teamer. Really just messed around because I kept seeing the unders hit, and I was like, let's just, if we hit 6-2, go 6-2 in that scenario, I think you break out just a little bit. And it goes 8-0, and it was a massive cash. It was a good little bump to the bankroll for the betting season. But no, I mean, it wasn't an official play or anything. I'm not counting it. But if you like, I like unders. I'll probably keep playing them for the most part. The only thing I'll be hesitant this week is, how much more starters play and stuff like that. Keep an eye on that. We could see a little bit more scoring than usual. We may go back to the unders week 3 when all these starters are probably going to be sitting for the most part. They may get a few series. So we got to keep an eye on that with this new preseason schedule. Other potential pull players for me, I mentioned Newton. I think Jones plays the most and probably higher owned. It wouldn't take much for Newton to score well, though. With only 3 preseason games, battle, if he gets a quarter and a half or so, or even close to the full first half, I mean, he could pay off. And having both of them in there isn't a horrible idea by any means. J.J. Taylor, Sony Michel, I think any of those running backs could come down to the touchdown dependent. Obviously, Stevenson busted the 91-yarder last week, so he paid off. But he was actually running well and playing well even before that. I think there was some of the Abdullah comparisons, and I was like, well, I mean, he was playing well before that. I think he'll be a hard runner for them, and I think he's a Bill Belichick style runner. So Sony Michel's work or potential touchdown work would come early, I think. But I think both those guys are in play. Wilkerson's in play. I mentioned him, but potential chalk zone there. Same with Watkins. I think he's a potential pull player, but potential chalkiness. Patriots tied in. I would be on the lookout here because you may be able to get some low owned or, leverage in an MME style. I don't know if I play any of these in a 1-3 max deal, but they're 2 or 3 of them are pretty banged up. And so that's one I'll be watching as we get closer to kickoff to see if we get an idea of who's even on the field for their tight ends and who could potentially be good pass catchers in that offense. And we know they're designing to play the tight end position, around the tight end a lot with who they got in the offseason. So, that could be a low own, if 1 or 2 of them look like they're out, or we find beat writers that say they're out. There's 4 or 5 of them on the roster right now. So hard to tell which one. Let's just see how the injuries shake out. Just wanted to make that note though. My favorite captain plays tonight, Patriots defense. I think either defense you could go. If I was picking one, I'm going Patriots. And then I like Mac Jones and Flacco are my 3 favorite captains as of right now. Hope you guys are off to a good start in your PGA DFS week. And hopefully we can crush some NFL Showdown tonight. I will be in Slack and stuff, updating anything I see or feel for the Showdown game tonight. And I will be back tomorrow with another Cup with Gup. Have a blessed day, and we'll talk later. Thanks.